Welcome to this edition of Girlytime TV. Today we have a special show because we have Miss Victoria Woodard from Metro Parks here. She is the president of Metro Parks, which makes her the first African-American woman to hold that position. But today we are here at the Washington State History Museum. Victoria, will you tell the viewers why we are here?
Well, we are here today to actually take a peek at the civil rights exhibit here that's at the Washington State Museum. It came out of a partnership. I also serve as co-chair of the Tacoma Civil Rights Project, and actually I'm fortunate enough to also be a trustee here at the museum. So through all of those relationships, we were able to produce a documentary about the civil rights struggle, and in concert with that documentary, the Washington State History Museum agreed to do an exhibit, which is what we're going to see a little bit of today.
Thank you very much, Victoria. We're going to go on inside and we are going to see some of these wonderful exhibits that have been collected for over the past...
Probably about the past 2 years they've been working on it, but probably just collected in the last 3 or 4 months to bring into the museum.
Okay, well, let's go in there and see some of these wonderful pieces. Thank you, Victoria. Let's go. Well, hello, ladies. Thank you, Kanda, for coming and joining us today. Thank you, Ms. Sharon Womack. Thank you, Ms. Tasha Holland and Mrs. Brenda, who is also the Washington State History Museum coordinator and developing and marketing. So Ms. Victoria is going to go ahead and give us, ladies, a tour of the museum, and she's going to explain some of the information that we have here in this great exhibit.
Well, what we're going to see today, I think that what is so important about what's in this exhibit, and the reason that we were so involved and thought it was so important to help make this exhibit happen is it's an opportunity to educate people. While we all may not know everything about every one of these pictures and every one of these people, the great opportunity we have now is because this is here, we can now know who these people are. So the reason that I got so excited about being a part of this and doing this documentary is in Tacoma we have a really unique opportunity, and that is that a lot of the people who were part of this civil rights struggle, we'll see a woman who was the first African-American woman bus driver who's still driving buses and still here, but a lot of these people are still very much alive and can tell their own story. And in other parts of the country, a lot of those leaders have passed on. So we had an opportunity not only to do this exhibit and make the documentary, but really honor those who are still alive and who really fought for this opportunity that I now have, and the things that we can all do because of the people like Harold Moss and Dr. Dolores Silas and Tom Dixon and Jim Walton and Lau Kwa Sim and Ella Mae Crawford. And those are just a few of the many pioneers, but those pioneers are still very much alive and still working today. But as we look at this picture, and we've got Brenda here who's a member. Actually, she's not a member. She's actually works here at the Washington State History Museum. You heard she's the director of marketing and development. But Brenda, as you look at some of this stuff, what does it tell you about the history, and what have you learned through this exhibit about what happened in the civil rights movement in Tacoma?
Well, I think what a lot of people locally don't understand is that there was a civil rights struggle here in Tacoma. A lot of people think that in the Northwest that didn't happen, that it was only happening in the South. So I think that we're raising a lot of awareness in the area about, the fact that this was going on right here. And like Victoria said, a lot of the people who were leaders in this struggle are still living and working here and influencing our area and, helping change policy. And we have all benefited from their work, and it's a chance to really thank them for what they've done.
This is one of our wonderful women from the past, and this is Nettie Asbury. She was actually the founder of the NAACP here in Tacoma. The Tacoma NAACP was actually the first chapter west of the Rocky Mountains and only 4 years younger than the national organization. Nettie also started several women's self-advancement clubs, and in 1917 she started the Washington State Federation of Colored Women's Organizations. And then here on another wall we have some other really great African-American women who really have shaped our community. One is our own Senator Rosa Franklin, who currently serves as a state senator and has since 1990. Actually, 1993 she's been in the Senate. She was in the House of Representatives first. And then we have our own Virginia Taylor, who passed away several years ago. Virginia was just an amazing individual in our community. She started the Northwest Dispatch newspaper, but she really was a mover and a shaker. And she really did great things in our community. We really miss her. Another leader who has gone on, who really helped to shape housing in the Hilltop area, and that was none other than our own Alberta, Canada, who was the executive director of the Martin Luther King Ecumenical Center, which is now the Martin Luther King Housing Development Association, which Felix Flanagan runs. But Alberta was a great advocate, not just for housing, but just for people, especially for African Americans. And so she's another one of our great leaders that we lost. But we do have another great woman leader who's still around and who's doing great work at the Mims Academy, and that's none other than our own Maxine Mims, who's also a part of this. Maxine actually founded the Tacoma, the Evergreen State Campus, or the Evergreen State College, the Tacoma campus. She founded that here in Tacoma. So now she runs her own academy called the Mims Academy, and she's working with our young people and really doing great things to reshape their lives and change our community and give them hope. There are a lot of great things at this exhibit. As you all have already seen some of it, we'll continue to see more. But what you can also tell is that this wasn't stuff that was just collected in one place. I mean, this was the kind of stuff that was found in people's basements and, in their grandmother's basements or boxes grandmother had left them. And so we really have to thank Harold Moss and Tom Dixon, who really went out and really located a lot of the stuff that you'll see in today's exhibit, along with some of the stuff that the Washington State History Museum had in their archives, and from other museums across the city and across the state. But what was really cool is that it was in Ella Mae Crawford's basement, this is stuff people were just hanging on to and didn't realize the value of it. One of those things, a picture that we were able to find, and Brenda's got a great story about how we found this woman, but this wonderful woman here on the wall, Anna Allen, was the first African-American female bus driver for Tacoma and is still driving buses. But the cool thing for me is that she was actually present the night that we celebrated the opening of the exhibit. And she is still driving for Pierce Transit. But I want Brenda to tell us, Brenda, how did you guys actually come across her, and how did we get her in this exhibit?
Well, we thought it was such a great picture that we were using it for all of our advertising and marketing materials. And one day, someone in our education department said, "Do you know if she's still working for Pierce Transit?" And we didn't know. We didn't really know where she was or where she had been since that photo was taken. And the reason this individual had asked was because she rode the bus every day to work. And every day on a bus coming the opposite direction, she would see a bus driver that she thought was the same woman, and she wasn't certain. And so we called Pierce Transit, and sure enough, Anna Allen, who's now Anna Allen Carr, is still driving the bus. And we were able to invite her to the opening and recognize her, and it was exciting to see someone that we, were using in these in our advertisements, and that we were kind of seen as a historical figure, to see that she's still very much active and working and a part of our community.
And what's so great about that is honoring those people. I mean, she didn't think. She just got a job and was driving buses and doing what she needed to do for her family, but not realizing she really was the trailblazer. She was making history for the rest of us. I mean, all of us as women are standing here today because of women like her who weren't thinking, I'm going to go change the world. She was just thinking, I'm going to work. And now there are more women. And she didn't just pave the way for African American women. She paved the way for women. And so I think that's what's important, but it's really great to honor people like that who didn't think anything about it at the time, but now we're really making a difference, or have made a difference for the rest of us.